Welcome to the everyday adventures of the Wheelie Hogs. Join little Wee and his family, especially Nana, as they live their lives alongside friends and neighbours in Hoglington. It's so quiet. Little Wheelie had been in his room ever since he'd got home from school. He sometimes went to his room after school to settle down and relax by looking through books. His favourite was a book all about space and the planets. Or he sometimes listened to music, or other times he just liked sitting and looking out of the window. He liked to notice what he could see from his bedroom window, and one of his favourite things to look at in the sky was the clouds. Today, though, there wasn't really any big fluffy clouds to look at and imagine shapes in, so he decided to settle down and listen to some soothing music and relax with Teddy. Little Wee had been sat with Teddy relaxing for a while, when it suddenly occurred to him that the house seemed very quiet. He could usually hear one or more of his family members doing things while he was in his room with the door open, but no, not a sound from any of them. That's unusual, thought little Wee, so he decided to go and investigate. Wait there, Teddy, said little Wee to Teddy, as he placed him onto a comfy cushion in the corner of his room while he went to investigate what the rest of the family were up to. Little Wee decided to go and find Rainbow first. As little Wee approached Rainbow's bedroom, he noticed that the door was ajar. So he peeked in to see if Rainbow was there, but they weren't. The room was empty. No sign of Rainbow. Next, little Wee decided to go and find Pinky Bow, so he made his way to her room to see what she was doing. Pinky Bow's bedroom door was wide open as usual. Little Wee poked his head in and called, "Pinky, are you there?" No answer, though. I wonder where Pinky is then, thought little Wee. Little Wee couldn't help but notice a rather large collection of pink bows in all different designs and patterns strewn across Pinky Bow's bedroom floor as he turned and wheeled away to find Mama. Mama would certainly be in her art studio, thought little Wee. She often went straight in there after picking him up from school, to give him some time to wind down after a busy day, she would say. So little Wee made his way to find Mama in her art studio. The studio door was wide open, and little Wee said, "Knock, knock, Mama," as he always did before he made his way in. But no sign of Mama. Little Wee was greeted with a very friendly and sleepy-sounding meow from next door's cat, though, who had made herself very comfy, stretching across Mama's bench. She looked at little Wee and slowly blinked before flopping her head back down on the bench and stretching herself out even more, now purring. "Hello, Socks," said little Wee to Socks the cat. She was called Socks because she had 4 white paws, and it looked as though she was wearing white socks. "Have you seen Mama?" little Wee asked Socks. But she didn't reply. She just carried on relaxing on Mama's bench. So little Wee turned and wheeled his way to find Papa. Although Papa might not be home from work yet, little Wee went back into the house to see. "Papa," called little Wee, but nope, no answer from Papa either. Where on earth has everyone gone, thought little Wee. He wasn't worried at all because he knew one of them at least would be around somewhere. But where? Little Wee decided to stay very still in the kitchen and listen as hard as he could listen, to see if he could hear anyone, anywhere, doing anything in the house. So little Wee stood still and he listened, and he listened, and he listened. And the more he listened and listened and listened, the more in tune he became with the sounds around him. He noticed the sounds the house made. He could hear other wheelie hogs outside. He could hear the birds in the garden and the sounds of a gentle breeze and distant sounds like an aeroplane flying high above. But as little Wheelie listened a bit more, he could hear a very familiar sound. Yes, he knew what that sound was. Gentle snoring, and it was coming from the garden. So little Wee wheeled outside in pursuit of the familiar sound of Nana. There she was in her favourite spot in the garden, snoozing away, and Socks the cat from next door had moved from Mamma's art studio and had decided to curl up on a blanket next to Nana. As little Wee approached Nana, she opened her eyes. "Hello, little Wee. Did you have a good day at school?" "Hello, Nana. Yes, I did, thank you. And I went into my room when I got home to look at a book for a while, and now I can't find anyone. Where have they all gone, Nana? It's so quiet." "Quiet?" exclaimed Nana. "Are you sure, little Wee?" As Nana said that, little Wee suddenly heard it. The usual sounds from the house. So little Wee followed the sounds, and as he got closer to the house, the sounds got louder and louder. Little Wee went back to Rainbow's room, and sure enough, there they were practicing scales on the saxophone. "Hello, Rainbow," shouted little Wee above the noise. "Hiya, little Wee," replied Rainbow. Next, little Wee went back to Pinky Bow's room, and sure enough, there she was in her room with some of her friends, giggling and all talking at once and all trying on Pinky Bow's bows. "Hello, Pinky," little Wee said from the doorway, but nobody heard him. They were too busy talking. Next, little Wee went to find Mumma in her art studio. The door was open. "Knock, knock, Mumma," said little Wee as he wheeled himself into the studio. "Hello, little Wee. Did you have a nice relax? Would you like a cookie?" said Mumma. "Oh, yes, please, Mumma," said little Wee as he helped himself to the biscuits in the biscuit tin that Mumma kept in her studio. "And I did have a good relax, thank you." "That's good," Mumma said with a smile, and little Wee stayed while he ate his biscuit and watched Mumma paint. Next, little Wee went to find Papa. Little Wee followed the sound of the radio and found Papa in the kitchen enjoying some music while he made dinner. Papa smiled when he saw little Wee, and they both bounced around the kitchen together for a bit to the music. Then Papa said, "See you in 20 minutes for dinner, little Wee." "Okay, Papa, see you then." So little Wee went back to his room and shut the door because the house was very noisy. He could definitely hear his family now. Hello, Wheelie Hog friends. All our homes are different. Have a listen. What does your house sound like? Perhaps it's sometimes noisy and then sometimes quiet. Until next time, roll with the Wheelie Hogs.